We really got to talk about this one? Really? I don't want to.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I am your host, Robyn Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson. We want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We're free and available everywhere you get your podcast. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. We got a little of a therapy session, Matthew. We had to get through. You and I needed just to talk this one through because this was just not a good game. Coyotes last night against the Kings. I was watching this game at the same time watching Monday Night Football. I'm not gonna lie. But after a while, I was just like, this team's not doing anything. They have the Phoenix Copley's in net, and they're not doing a gosh darn thing.
Phoenix Copley went into this one with a 750 save percentage, and he made 30 saves on 31 shots. I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, how many of those shots were high quality shots? Did you watch, like, legit? Most of those shots were like, you know, those like little bunny shots, like tiny, like they were not like, we need to score to get them in.
Dude, I elected to just not watch when I could watch last night because the game's okay. Look, I'll just give us the goal scoring summary very quickly. All right, the game starts off a shorthanded goal, 3.5 minutes in. Andrzej Kopitar scores 5 minutes later at 8:20, so it's 2-0 heading into the second. Moore gets his second goal of the night at 15:31. Krauser does respond about 3 minutes later, his eighth from Bukestad and Michelli. That line has been fantastic, and that was the only life the Coyotes had, and it was a 3-1 game. And then Dano gets one more goal with like 4 minutes to go in the third period. And the Coyotes in the third period, when you need to make a push, they got a hooking penalty and then a too many men on the ice penalty. They gave up a total of, what was it, like 5 power plays? Let me double check. Where's my? They gave up 4 power plays. Luckily, the penalty kill was fine. But then when you get 6 power plays and do nothing on it, they sucked. I have nothing more creative. I don't really care to talk about this game. I actively elected to not watch when I had the opportunities to watch. This team sucked last night. They went up against a good team, and I'm not going to say didn't try. They just didn't play well, and I don't think there's anything else to say.
You're right. They did not play well. They didn't put out the effort they should have, and to me, I think, like, not that they didn't try. They did. You know, you can see it. You know, a lot of efforts in which they did, but you didn't try hard enough. In my thoughts, like,
or at least they didn't get the results, and that's like the frustrating part.
It is the frustrating part, and I think that's the thing too. I think because, like, we know what this team is capable of, right? We know,
but they're also missing like 5 players.
Yes,
so it's like
that brings us the question too. Yeah, you know, is this game a true testament to, you know, what the effects of the injury bug, or are we just, you know, it's just like, and it's just an additional thing just to make an excuse because they played so bad?
Well, let's pick on a couple of players. I'm just going to grab a couple of stats. Yanis Moser was the only positive plus minus defender out there. Doesn't surprise me at all. Giannis Miller is the best defensive player on the team. Any mistakes he's going to make up for them like 80 times over. I remember Stetcher playing okay on a couple of the penalty kills because Stetcher's also a pretty decent defender. I saw some comments that Matt Dumba needs to be shot to the moon, and my only thing is people have bad games, and I think Dumba's been kind of like forgettably mediocre, but not terrible. But when he and Dursey, who's the number one defenseman, were a combined -5, they were out there for the majority of the time when the Kings were scoring goals. And nothing else really, like, I'm trying to look at a couple positive stats, like shots. Like Krauser technically had like 7 shots, Bukestad had 5. Like that Kraus, Michelli, Bukestad line, whatever couple struggles they had in the first like 4 games to gel. Yeah, no, that's gone. They're perfectly gelling right now, but everything else is just forgettable, forgettable, mediocre, fine enough, I guess, shifts, and you can't play like that against a team that's, what was it? They were 7-0 on the road heading into that game. They were either undefeated or only had like 1 loss on the road. The Kings have been fantastic this year, and as a diehard Kings hater, I am disgusted. I have to wake up this morning and at 7:00 in the morning say the Los Angeles Kings are a good team. No, hate it. So now I'm mad at the Coyotes for making me say that.
I mean, as someone who's born and raised an LA hater in general, I'm 100% with you. I'm 100% with you.
Then again, you're only based to a certain degree because you're also still a Tucson fan, and I can't get behind that.
You know what? That all changes this Saturday. No, just kidding. I mean, that like you'll see how much better how much better U of A is right now.
I don't care if U of A is better in a sport. Fork them. I don't care if they win a national championship. I still say fork them. Same thing with the Kings. If the Kings win a Stanley Cup, I'm not going to congratulate them. To hell with them. Is there anything else really to talk about? Like the Coyotes got outshot in the first period. They dominated shots in the second. They only get 1 goal out of it. All right. The Kings had 2 shots in the second period and converted on one of them. Ingram also did not have a very good night. 4 goals against on 25 shots, 840 save percentage. He had, I think, a 5-game winning streak heading into that one. Disappointed in him, but it's only one bad game. It is what it is. But
I'm going to go back. I do want to go back to the goaltending really quick before we move on on the sense on the other side for the Kings, because in my own thoughts, I would have thought my personal that the Coyotes would have been kind of either like there'd been 2 schools of thought on this one, that they would have either been, relatively excited that Copley's in net because that gives them an opportunity because of what happened last time, in the sense that they, in the last home game they put Copley in, they got, 4 goals and they got pulled in the first 5 minutes of the game, or they would have been offended by that and they would have still put up the kind of hard effort.
You're not wrong. I mean, you're not you're not wrong that the team either should have been chopping at the bits to go after a bad goaltender, because this season Phoenix Copley has been a bad goaltender. Now, it takes 1 game to turn that around. So if he ends up turning it around against the Coyotes, I'd be even more insulted. But also, I'm pretty sure the Coyotes only played the Kings 3 times now. So, like, you got swept. And, like, none of these games were close because the Coyotes went from blowing out the Kings to losing in regulation, lost by a couple in LA, and then get blown out on their own home ice by 3 goals. Like, it's embarrassing. That's actually legitimate use of the term embarrassing in regards to the Coyotes.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to continue talking after a quick break, but we got a lot to get to. Later in the show, we're also going to get to a quick preview against the Blues. Maybe even for a full preview, or even post-game, we'll talk to the host of Locked On Blues, But that'll be for later this week, so you'll have to find out if we actually get to that. But anyways, before we get to that, this episode brought to you by Game Time. Have you ever been tired of trying to buy a ticket for a event, like a sporting event or a concert or a comedy show, or whatever it might be, only to be thrown into a situation where either A, you find out that the deal is not as good as you thought it was, or B, the view from your seat is absolutely atrocious, and you kind of were misled based off where you thought those seats were. Game Time actually fixes all of that because you can browse through the app with Game Time for, like I said, concerts, sports games, anything, and you can get last minute deals, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy tickets of every kind of event in your area. View all seats in the venue. They have a picture of every single area of the venue that you're able to take a look at, so you know exactly what view you're going to get from your seat before you buy. And they have the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. And my favorite part is the fact that they have all-in pricing that show up your total up front, so you know that you're getting a great deal without hidden fees because it's already included in that all-in pricing. Game Time has a deal right from the start of the event to even an hour after it starts. It's the best place to find last-minute deals. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
I found an answer as to why there was a lot of anti-Dumba sentiment while you were doing the ad read. I was trying to look up some stats and whatnot. Hockey stat cards put out their stat card last night for the Coyotes and their impacts, and Dumba's impact was a negative 2.7. The defense was about negative 2.3. The offense was about negative 2.6. The worst on the team last night. So I guess I kind of get it, but I also was like, it's just a bad game that it happens. But it's pretty bad.
No, that's really bad. But I'm with you. A game like this is not a game in which you should. That I think the Coyotes should be, like we could kind of like judge based off their season. We've seen a game in which they've played really, really well. We've seen multiple games in which they played really, really well. And for some reason, just the Kings just had their number. It's just really interesting to kind of think about where the Coyotes are this season. I have no doubt that they are of the lower side of the middle of the pack in the NHL. Like, I think that everyone's pretty comfortable with saying that.
It's the best way
to the lower side of the middle of the pack. They're not the bottom anymore. They're not in the bottom group. There's a slight next tier up.
What I think it is, and I understand he spent a lot of time not playing because of the penalties he took, but like Josh Brown is fine. That's a fine seventh defenseman. Kesselring got heavily sheltered minutes. He only played 9.5 minutes. I don't know why you're sheltering him as much as you are, but Kesselring is a decent young defender.
He had a good game the last, a good couple of games over the weekend, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he decent player. Stetcher on a playoff team should be your 6/7th defenseman. They are missing a couple of players. Dermott did have an impact on the defense. Mick Bay made a big difference in the bottom six. The injuries, Barrett Hayton is one that he does all the little things as well as manages a solid net front presence on the power play. I think Travis Boyd was doing like a similar thing last night, but for whatever reason, it's just more effective when you have Barrett Hayton out there. And that first line is more effective. And obviously, one of the things you can point to is like Travis Boyd is a notoriously slow skater, and that line is supposed to rely on speed. And Hayton's not the fastest, but he is a decently fast on his feet. The injuries are starting to pile up, and you don't have those players, as many of them that can add that depth and step up. And whether or not it's because they're not ready, whether it's because the coaches are running a couple of them on very short leashes, whether it's everyone just had one bad game and we're all reacting to the bad taste in our mouth from that one bad game. Because I it's a little embarrassing that game last night, but the amount of players that are out kind of makes bad games feel worse. So I don't want to say like they're staple gunned to the bottom half of the league. I still think they're right towards the middle. But games like that last night kind of make it a little harder to justify. But I was trying to put it into context. There's still a lot of injuries on the team that when the bad games happen, it's probably going to feel worse than it actually is.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think that's kind of why we're feeling as low as we are right now.
It was
We're
bad.
just like, it was because it was that bad. It was that bad. And it's just like, and it's demoralizing. You're just like, why? You know, and I think it's going to be, you know, I think I'm someone that tries to be an optimist, right? As much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But you're taking a look, they got the Blues coming up. They got split. They've so far been split with the Blues. That's coming up tomorrow. Then you got a
Celebrini.
God. We're not. No, we're way past tanking. Don't get me wrong. If the Coyotes, if the Coyotes somehow get Celebrini, I'm not going to complain. But that's not. No.
Have we not learned our lesson from Payne for Shane, from
that's shame for Shane.
Shame for Shane.
And calling for Bedard.
Yeah, well, it was like crap the bed for Bedard, bad for Bedard. There we go. It's bad. Like,
no, I was the one that was doing Tankard for Bedard that year.
But like we're past that, and also the Coyotes don't get draft luck. So you know what? Actually, they might be better off finishing around 11th and then rigging the draft lottery. Not actually having good odds, just having terrible odds, and then they'll win the lottery and jump up.
Yeah, like that'll totally end well. But anyways, as I was getting at is, you know, after coming up with the Blues tomorrow, where you know it's again the Coyotes have been split with this season so far. That's when they got the what we've been calling the Stanley Cup Gauntlet, where they go against the Golden Knights, the Lightning, the Avalanche, they get in the Blues again, and the Capitals. Here we are. This is at this point in the season, Matthew, that we said is a true test of the Coyotes.
Yeah, to be fair, when we were talking about that in the offseason, we did not know that they're going to be missing a quarter of their team. We did not know the 2018-19 Coyotes were calling and deciding they wanted to come back. So all I'm going to say is this. I
prepare for pain.
How many games is it? It's 6 games? Or is it?
Should I include tomorrow's game against the Blues? Because they're technically our Stanley.
Yes. Include
right.
The Blues game.
All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 games.
The Coyotes will be lucky to get 2 wins. They will be lucky to beat St. Louis. And last I checked, Washington was starting to pick it up a little bit. So maybe they can beat Colorado. But I think Colorado also has like an injury issue with the goaltending, and Ivan Prosvetov is back.
No. I will say Coyotes games against Colorado are like boom or bust, if you know what I mean, right? They're either like really, really fun, like extreme hockey games, or they're like absolute, crap shows. I'm just like, I cannot watch this show.
You're not wrong. So I say in a 6-game stretch, they'll be lucky to get 2 wins. And you know what? I hope someone with the team watches this and is like, I'm going to prove that fat a-hole wrong. because I would rather be proven wrong and be talking about 4 wins out of 6 than the one that I'm actually assuming they're going to get.
If the Coyotes get through this series, this series of games, at 500 or better, I will be, especially with the state they are in with their injury bug, I will be very impressed, and I will be confident that this team is better than I think any of us thought. But at this point, I just don't have that confidence because of the major injury bug. You said they're missing a major pieces of the team. I just can't say that that's going to happen.
Look, we loved the first line center Travis Boyd meme 2 years ago.
It's just not. It doesn't work this year. It doesn't work this year.
Not even saying Boyd sucks. He doesn't. He's a serviceable bottom 6 player. He's been showing he's serviceable in the bottom 6 this year. He has a role on the team that I didn't think he had this year. That's excellent. I'm very happy with him in that role. He's not your number 1 center. So it's like I genuinely feel like things are bad, and I also don't think Cooley should be the number 1 center right now because I
all right, so that brings me to the question: who would you like with the roster right now? Who do you put up at number 1 center?
I don't. I honestly, I would honestly rather they call up they call up Donor and be like, all right, you could go. We're gonna feed you to the flame, as it were, because you played center in college for all of 3 weeks. I would honestly rather have that. There is no answer. Barrett Hayton, because Cooley and I know Cooley and Keller tend to connect a decent bit, like in terms of assists on power plays. I just still think that Cooley and Keller don't mesh quite well. So I don't want them kind of shoehorning that on the ice. I also do not want Cooley being thrown to the wolves, as it were. Obviously, it's a sarcastic comment about Donor getting thrown to the wolves, but I don't want Cooley getting thrown to the wolves. But there's no one else that can take that first line center spot right now. I don't see anybody else. Like the only other person I would consider is, because Bukestad, you want to keep him with his line that's playing well right now, is Jack McBain. Because at least McBain can do literally everything that Hayton does, but like a little bigger and a little more physical. Like that's the only fundamental difference, is that McBain is a staple gun bottom 6 forward, like to his core. So anything you needed from him, he's also a competent enough passer. But anything you need him to do that Barrett Hayton did, you could probably have Jack McBain do, but he's also hurt. So, like, I don't trust anyone else. I don't want anyone else in the first line. And we saw last night with Cooley, like, he's going to make those mistakes. I don't want to force him against the best lines every night to make that worse and ruin his confidence. No.
I mean, yeah, no, I was going to think, maybe it doesn't hurt trying it against the Blues, but
maybe Kerfoot, see what he does. He played center in Toronto, didn't he?
He played third line center, right? He was a middle 6 center,
but he also is not slow.
True. So I think it definitely might be worth trying. Like, try something. You know, that's all we got to say.
Anyway, what you should try. You know what you should try, Robyn? Try eBay Motors. There we go. I did it. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you're looking for to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts that you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit available only to U.S. customers.
I love how you and I thought so alike. How I was going to segue in, and you're just like, you know
I
what?
saw the timestamp. We were like 4 minutes late on that one. I'm like, let's just get it out of the way. But like, we actually had a good amount of like more speculative stuff to talk about. But it's like, and just in case anyone's confused what I'm talking about with the Keller Cooley thing, it's on the power play. Logan Cooley never looks comfortable to shoot, and it's always as soon as he gets the puck, it's either he's immediately passing it back off to Keller or Schmaltz, or he's doing like he's just looking at one of them without looking to shoot. So that's what I'm talking about. It's not that Keller and Cooley can never work. It's I think Cooley doesn't have his confidence to shoot and kind of take over his line a little bit. And it's Keller's team, so I get it. And he's a rookie. You're not going to come out of the gate immediately. This is my team now. Like it's not what I'm saying.
I want to take a look
at.
I do want to take a look really quick and kind of thinking back. And yes, you know, you could only take preseason with so much stock, but I want to see the Logan Cooley that went coast to coast between the pipe, like between two freaking players, diving goal. Like
he should have done it against the Kings. He's had 3 opportunities and didn't do it.
That would have especially against Copley. That you could do that. You could do that
against Copley. You could do that. But seriously, it's just he still has that Jason Zucker like motor whenever he's playing. It's just like on the power play, he has this weird, like almost Matias Michelli syndrome where he doesn't want to shoot, and then when he's on his own line, but like and then like when he's on his own line, he shoots a little more. So that's why I'm saying like for right now, I do not think Cooley and Keller are compatible. I don't know if Cooley just needs more confidence and to settle into his role better.
Let's take a look back at. You made a good point from earlier. Let's take a look back at was it 2 weekends ago when 2 weekends ago when Logan Cooley got a 3-assist game. And that's when I made the joke too. It's like, hey, that's the Joe Thornton hat trick because like legit because like there are players who are known for passing and like Cooley should be a goal scorer. But
Cooley, like you watch him in college, you watch him in preseason, the dude's a goal scorer. Like it's
who's a true goal scorer and who I want to see at some point. Maybe not yet, but at some point, pretty soon.
Oh,
Dylan Guenther. He is a true, like he's been known, like he was throughout all of juniors. He was known as a true goal scorer. That's what many scouts have labeled him as, and that's what the Coyotes brought him in to be at that some point.
Playing well in Tucson. He's
been playing really well.
Light it up a little more recently too. Yeah, it's like I right now. They have some injuries. I get that they're going for certain role guys. I'm kind of starting to feel like maybe a bit of a mistake was made, and Guenther should have got the call up to play with Zucker and Cooley, especially if Cooley is shooting. And that's my main criticism here. It's not that Cooley's playing terrible. It's not that Cooley and Keller can't work. It's that Cooley just doesn't look like he has the confidence to shoot that much. If you give him Guenther on his line and you kind of let him run, like he's obviously kind of running his own line, but him Zucker and Guenther, I feel like some good things will happen. And like, yes, you have 2 other goal scorers on that line, but essentially if he's going to Matias Michelli it, you got to embrace that and take advantage of it. If you're going to try to un-Matias Michelli Logan Cooley, I want to see him score more.
Yeah, I want to know kind of like the decision going through that because like I get it. There were even some fans out there. They're like, let him cook. There are people who are just like, yeah, focus on development because that's what the Roadrunners are there for. Yes, the Roadrunners are for development, but it's also the that stepping stone. It's like, think of it like, it's like that AAA team in baseball where like many times like you'll have your top players get called up because heck, the major team needs them because they need them. This is the case. The Coyotes are thin right now. They are missing so many bodies. They are missing some top six. They gotta do something.
I think this is interesting right here. So I looked at Logan Cooley's last 5 games. The 2 games where he recorded points, he also registered exactly 4 shots. Those against Columbus and Nashville. Nashville, that 3 assist night, that pretty solid night. All of the other games, Dallas, 1 shot. Winnipeg, 0 shots. LA, he at least got a couple of shots off last night. I obviously this is this is not peeling the curtain back and opening everyone's third eye here. Him having the confidence to shoot directly leads to better production. No brainer, surface level. Why even bringing this up, right?
Yeah. Even if it's not a goal. Even if you're just putting it towards the net and someone tips it in.
That's how you get the points. And it's just, to me, he is not shooting enough. And that's if he's gonna have the confidence issues, bring up Gunther so that way you can kind of give him a little bit extra on his line and maybe a little bit extra on move him over to power play too and have him run a different unit. I know they kind of like what you're doing with Krause and Michelli and whatnot, but let Cooley loose a little bit. I want to see him shoot more because obviously surface level stuff. He shoots more, he do better because he good player. Good player shoot, good player produce.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Anyways, though, that's gonna be it for today's episode. As a reminder, tomorrow, Arizona Coyotes versus St. Louis Blues. We'll have a full preview and then a post game. We got lots to get to this week. It is Thanksgiving week, so we gotta make sure. But we're still running strong. We'll get you all covered. Don't worry about it. We'll get to all that again later this week. But that's it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, the SiriusXM radio app, and ad-free on Amazon Music. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes. And on X at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robyn with a Y _LEANO. Mike Jacobson is at the AZ Sports Guy. Interact with us, ask a question you might have. We might answer right back or in a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys staying safe out there. Hope you guys staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.